Silicon Valley has a phrase it repeats like a prayer. Fake it till you make it, said casually, almost proudly, as if belief itself is a virtue. The idea is simple. Every breakthrough starts unfinished. Every revolutionary product looks impossible at first. So confidence matters more than certainty. And sometimes that's true. But over time, that phrase stopped meaning optimism. It became permission. Permission to exaggerate. Permission to hide uncertainty. Permission to blur the line between what exists and what's merely promised. And once that line blurs, something dangerous happens. Because belief spreads faster than proof. And when belief spreads, questioning it starts to feel like heresy. This isn't a story about one bad founder or one failed startup. It's about a myth, a story Silicon Valley tells itself, a story that keeps producing billion-dollar disasters. And the most unsettling part is this. Most of the people involved aren't stupid. They're not careless. They're often brilliant, which raises a harder question. Why does this keep happening? To understand why these frauds succeed, you have to understand how Silicon Valley thinks about risk. Startups don't win by being right most of the time. They win by being spectacularly right once. Venture capital is built on this logic. Out of 10 investments, 9 can fail. As long as the 10th becomes massive. That math changes behavior. It rewards bold narratives over boring accuracy. It favors confidence over caution. Speed over verification. Now add media to the mix. Journalists are drawn to clean stories. The prodigy founder. The elegant solution. The future arriving early. Complexity doesn't travel well. Caution doesn't trend. But vision does. So when a founder speaks with certainty about a world that doesn't exist yet, it feels like leadership. And when respected names get involved, skepticism quietly exits the room. A famous board member, powerful investor, a glowing headline, each one becomes social proof. And soon, doubt doesn't feel rational anymore. Feels lonely. This is how smart people stop asking basic questions. Not because they can't, but because the system slowly makes those questions feel inappropriate. Here's the problem. Reality doesn't care about narratives. Physics doesn't bend for confidence. Biology doesn't respond to branding. Markets don't reward belief forever. At some point, every startup collides with the real world. And this is where the myth gets tested. Because there's a difference between iteration and deception. Between building towards something unfinished and claiming something works when it doesn't. In software, you can patch bugs later. In finance, you can move numbers around. But in medicine, infrastructure, or human trust, failure has consequences. This is where companies like Theranos collapsed. Not because ambition is bad, but because ambition replaced evidence. And when reality pushed back, the response wasn't transparency. It was secrecy. Demos were staged. Access was restricted. Employees were compartmentalized. The story had to survive even if the product couldn't. And once that happens, the goal shifts. It's no longer about building something real. It's about keeping the belief alive long enough. This is where we have to stop blaming individuals. Because the real engine behind these failures isn't greed or ego. It's incentives. Founders are rewarded for growth, not truth. Investors are rewarded for upside, not accuracy. Media is rewarded for access, not skepticism. No one in this system is paid to slow things down. Asking hard questions introduces friction. Friction delays deals. Delays cost money. So the system quietly trains everyone to look away at the same time. Boards filled with powerful names but little domain expertise. Due diligence that checks reputation instead of reality. Regulators who arrive after damage is done. This is how risk becomes invisible. Not because it isn't there, but because acknowledging it benefits no one in the moment. And when everyone is incentivized to move forward, stopping feels irresponsible. Even when stopping is exactly what's needed. When these companies collapse, the headlines focus on valuations lost, billions erased, careers destroyed, reputations shattered. But that's not the full cost. Employees trusted leadership and lost years of their lives. Customers made decisions based on false information. Patients received incorrect diagnoses. Every failure chips away at public trust. And trust is fragile. Once it breaks, people don't just lose faith in one company. They lose faith in innovation itself. They stop believing that progress is real. They become cynical. And cynicism is the opposite of innovation. So while fraud may look like a private failure, its consequences are public. They ripple outward, quietly, lasting far longer than any headline. After every collapse, there's a promise. This time will be different. We've learned our lesson. Safeguards will improve. And yet, the pattern repeats. Because the myth is useful. It justifies risk. It accelerates growth, creates heroes. And dismantling it would mean slowing down an entire industry built on speed. So instead, the story resets. A new founder, a new vision, a new promise that this time belief will become reality. Sometimes it does. But sometimes belief is all there ever was. And until incentives change, until evidence is valued as much as confidence, this cycle won't end. Because the most dangerous myth in Silicon Valley isn't that failure is acceptable, it's that truth can wait. If you want more deep dives into the stories that shape our world, subscribe now, hit the bell, and join us every Saturday for another business autopsy. Because the world will keep producing billion-dollar myths. It's up to us to see them clearly.